Hi, my name is Mastrianni. I'm a PhD student at Drexel University, and today I'll be talking about how we transitioned our user-centered design activities from in-person to remote during the COVID-19 pandemic. When the pandemic struck, we were in the process of designing, creating, and evaluating features for a digital checklist used in pediatric trauma resuscitations at a Level 1 trauma center. We had to transition all of our user-centered design activities from in-person to remote to be able to continue doing this work. We ended up transitioning 4 user-centered design activities: participatory design workshops, interviews and design walkthroughs, near-live simulation sessions, and usability evaluation sessions. While transitioning these sessions, we had the following research questions. How do we design remote user-centered design activities to obtain useful data and results? How did these remote activities affect our interactions with participants? And how did remote activities affect the interactions between team members? First, how do we design remote user-centered design activities? It was important that we still collected high-quality data and obtained valid results. Since we had been located in a different part of the country from our research site, we had remote access to hospital systems and IRB protocols that have quickly allowed us to set up additional remote access. Before running the sessions, we ran pilot tests and had backup plans that we used when facing technological issues during the sessions. We did observe differences in data collection between in-person and remote, and these differences varied based upon the user-centered design activity. We found that we collected more data from interviews and design walkthroughs, near-live simulations, and usability evaluations when we ran these sessions remotely. For example, in the near-live simulation sessions, when we ran the session remotely, we remotely accessed the tablet at the hospital so we could see all of the interactions that the participant was doing during the session and record these. This was extra data that we received. We did find it was harder to collect data from participatory design workshops when running them remotely. When these sessions were held in person, users would sketch on pieces of paper that we could take back with us. But during the remote sessions, we had to just ask participants to hold their sketches up to the camera so that we could see them. We also found that when running the sessions remotely, we lacked contextual details about the site that we would have received if we had run the sessions in person. We also explored how remote activities affected our interactions with participants. We did experience challenges hearing participants, especially in the sessions where they would also be watching videos. In those sessions, we had to rely more on retrospective questioning than the think aloud method. We also faced issues building trust as we had to establish all of our connections with participants remotely. Technological issues and scheduling issues also caused stress, and these issues had to be resolved remotely as well. Finally, we experienced self-presentation tensions as we were conducting these research professional sessions from our home environments and having these two environments mixed together. Finally, how did remote user-centered design activities affect our interactions with other research team members? Since there was no travel cost and lower time costs, multiple researchers were able to join the sessions. As they were being held remotely, we could message each other during the sessions over platforms like Facebook Messenger. This created a back-channel discussion, and the messages from those discussions became a source of field notes. We observed that because of these back-channel discussions, we were having 2 sets of discussions, one during the session with our real lifetime feedback, and then a set of discussions after the session. Note-taking became a collaborative process as researchers used Google Sheets to take notes together during the session. We were also able to discuss any questions about the protocol with other researchers during the sessions. However, these different channels of discussions could influence the power dynamics in participatory design workshops. From our experiences, we came up with a set of lessons learned and best practices. For designing remote user-centered design activities, we found it was helpful to have remote access to as many systems as possible and backup plans in case of technological issues. In terms of interacting with participants, we found it useful to inform participants ahead of time of any technical requirements and to use technologies that participants will already be familiar with. For interacting with other researchers, we defined the roles for each research member before the session and introduce all research team members and their roles to the participant at the beginning of the session. Thank you for attending this talk.